I've got some major breaking news. The stock market isn't the only thing in free fall. It also seems like Donald Trump's approval rating over the past few weeks is sliding in a similar manner. Now, the interesting thing is, his economic approval rating is the one that's getting hit the hardest. I wonder why. And it's because of the uncertainty he is creating in America. And another interesting piece is that he's not just losing popularity with Democrats, of course, but it's primarily with swing voters, moderates, and the coalition that he just put together for this last election. So for some quick analysis, the 2024 election had a unique coalition for the Republican Party because they did win over a lot of young men, minorities, Hispanic men. They won over a lot of new groups, but these new groups they won over are not sticky. They're not going to stick to the Republican Party, and we're seeing that right now. So I want to show you the economic damage that Trump has caused and how people are viewing it. First, check out the Wall Street Journal front page from today. It says, market carnage worsens. And you see, if we zoom in a bit, Dow plunges 2,200. NASDAQ enters bear territory after China counters U.S. tariffs. They include a picture of the stock market showing that it's just terrible performances. Right under that, it says, Trump heads to golf club amid tariff turmoil. And it's a photo of him saying, bye, mother effers. I don't care about your 401k. I only care about me and golf. And then right below that, it says, how Musk's blitzkrieg of cuts fueled GOP worries about political liability. So honestly, all of this helps paint my broader picture that the GOP's image is rapidly in free fall, and it's because of Donald Trump. Listen, messaging is incredibly important, and I'll talk about this more later, but sometimes it feels like Trump has this wall around him, where even after January 6th, people didn't really feel the effects of it. So when we messaged about it, people didn't really care. Even when he went through his court trials and showed people national security secrets, the average person didn't really care because it doesn't affect them on a day-to-day basis. But the point I'm trying to make is when Trump enacts these awful economic policies, people are actually going to feel this and be able to draw the direct line to Trump's tariffs, and that's when the messaging really matters. Democrats shouldn't just roll over and hide. We should be out there relentlessly saying, Donald Trump screwed you, screwed your wallet, the market carnage is worsening, he's heading to golf. And remember, this was the front page of the Wall Street Journal. It's basically just shitting on Trump. The Wall Street Journal is not something that Trump would call a left-wing newspaper. It's not like MSNBC or whatever the hell. And it's funny, here's Abby Phillips showing that Trump used to rag on other presidents for golfing too much.
Obama, it was reported today, played 250 rounds of golf.
Everything's executive order because he doesn't have enough time because he's playing so much golf.
Obama ought to get off the golf course and get down there.
Did Trump just complain about a president using executive orders because they're golfing too much? I can't do this.
I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf.
He played more golf last year than Tiger Woods.
This guy plays more golf than people on the PGA Tour.
I love golf. I think it's one of the greats, but I don't have time.
If I were in the White House, I don't think I'd ever see Turnberry again. I don't think I'd ever see Doral again.
I'm not going to be playing much
He was literally Justin Doral as the economy was crashing.
golf. Believe me, if I win this, I'm not going to be playing much golf.
There's this interesting thing where I feel like throughout Trump's political career, it's increasingly gotten darker and darker as he's gotten less energetic and more brown. Like when I look at these clips of him from 2016, he seems a little bit more energetic, right? A little younger. It kind of reminds me of how if you watch the Harry Potter movies, the first one is really bright and kind of fun, and then each movie gets increasingly darker until you're at the final battle. It feels like we're in that stage. We're getting darker and darker and darker leading up to whatever the final battle is going to look like. Looking back on these clips, it's like, wow, look at the young, more energetic Trump. It just seems a little bit different and less dark. But before I go over the approval ratings, let me just read a few posts I found online that really bring the point home. 2 days ago, someone said, it's no secret I voted for Trump. This person posts about Trump all the time. It's no secret I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote for a global trade war. He better fix this strife immediately if Republicans want a chance to keep the House or Senate. 71 million Americans have a 401k. We are the world's largest consumers. Our trade deficits could have been ironed out with a phone call. That's what I've been saying. Thank you, random Trump supporter. We have treaties and diplomacy, and we have leverage that we can use, but this leverage doesn't mean we have to put a gun in their effing face, you know? Our trade deficits could have been ironed out with a phone call. I believe this is a huge miscalculation. Democrats should be jumping up and down celebrating. It's a weird place because I'm not celebrating the U.S. economy going into utter destruction. That's never something I would celebrate, but there is a level of like, we told you so. Or I'd say there's a level of irony here that we keep pointing out. Like, dude, we told you not to vote for the insane guy who's orange and who clearly has a narcissism problem. Like, there were signs. When the economy goes into a recession, can we tell the Trump supporters, hey, you realize there were some signs that this guy was a little bit reckless and crazy, like maybe January 6th or the 100 other stories we could tell. This person said, at real Donald Trump, I voted for you, Mr. President. I carried so much water for you and convinced my wife and kids who did not want to vote for you. You are standing idly by as the market crashes. He's not standing idly by. He's golfing. He's walking the golf course. What are you talking about? You are standing idly by. I lost more than 100K in 2 days. Do something. I'm regretting my vote, sir. Wall Street Bets Discord is so funny, someone said. And this is a Discord full of stock market traders. Someone said, put the pronouns back in people's bios. F this market. He's basically saying, can we go back to how things were? Because damn, this is painful. Oh, the big man himself tweeted out this morning, big business is not worried about the tariffs because they know they are here to stay. They are focused on the big, beautiful deal which will supercharge our economy. Okay, big business isn't worried about the tariff, but what about little businesses? Just F little businesses, I guess. And also, big business definitely is worried about the tariff. I mean, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon came out saying this uncertainty is very, very painful. And these are some of the reactions that piss me off. This Trump voter replies to a chart that shows the S&P 500 index to Inauguration Day. Obama and Biden had a roaring S&P 500. Trump's immediately falls. And this was before the big crash. This chart's from like a week ago. Someone responds, kicking the can down the road versus dealing with it now. I voted for this. No, you didn't, dude. Don't lie to us. He voted because he thought prices were going to be lower, and now they're backtracking and trying to claim that they voted for like a recession. It's just an insane argument. But let's break down this chart. A quick thread of charts showing how Trump's economic agenda is going so far. Number one, Trump has had the same impact on economic uncertainty within the US as the global pandemic did a few years ago. So again, this is only within the US, if you look at my cursor right here. In the US, economic uncertainty seems to be almost going higher than it was during the global pandemic, all spurred on by Trump. Right here, it's labeled global pandemic because, COVID couldn't be prevented. But right here, it's just labeled Trump. It's not even a policy like tariffs, it's just Trump. Now, if we go on to the next one, that was just the US version. Here's the global version. What's particularly interesting is that he's managed to recreate this on a global scale, starting to get the feeling that the Trump annotation is going to be the chart equivalent of a layer of volcanic ash in the fossil record. So again, we have the uncertainty created by the COVID-19 pandemic, and you can see in March of 2020, there's a lot of uncertainty throughout that summer as well. Trump recreated that uncertainty and is beating it. Let's continue. U.S. consumers are reacting very, very negatively. We're a consumer-heavy society. I don't know if Trump realizes that, but he's the one that sells everything to Americans, so he must know. These are the worst ratings for any U.S. government's economic policy since records have even began. And let me point out one more time. This is going to blow your guys' mind. These numbers were taken before Liberation Day and before the Liberation Day aftermath. I believe when I looked at it, these were taken early April. It's still early April, but in the past 3 or 4 days, Liberation Day has completely reshifted the stock markets and the global economy. And by reshifted, I mean tanked. It's tanked the stock market. But right here, we say U.S. consumers are rapidly souring on Trump's economic plan. And while there was a honeymoon for a few months where Trump's approval rating, it wasn't high, it was actually quite low, but his approval rating was higher than it should have been because we were in the honeymoon period. People were looking forward to these policies, and Trump was doing a good job of flooding the zone. I will say the Trump admin did do like 3,000 things that we had to cover relentlessly. So now I'm not going to sit here and tell you that over the next 2 days, Trump is going to be the most unpopular president in American history. It's not going to work like that, but I will say that slowly, over the next few weeks, over the next few months, if Democrats are able to capitalize on this moment, we can show people that there's a lot of uncertainty because of him. Well over half of Americans expect the economy to deteriorate over the next year. Again, the highest figure ever recorded. Many of us expect a recession over the next year, which is wild. And you know what I find annoying? The Trump voters will just make this argument now. Oh, we were already headed towards a recession because of Biden. Trump just made it happen quicker. I mean, I showed you that tweet a second ago. The hardcore MAGA cult, they will never concede that Trump led us directly into a recession. They'll walk off the cliff with Trump. But the thing is, there are a lot of swing voters and moderate voters that we can win over. I got this comment the other day that said, Adam, I don't know why you still try to win over moderate voters. They're a lost cause. You're wasting your time. It's naive. And that comment really kind of annoyed me because I was like, what? It's naive to try to win over the swing voters who barely know anything about politics? It's not naive at all. That's who we should be winning over. It's odd to complain when I'm trying to appeal to a broader coalition. A lot of people don't really have good political instincts when it comes to winning. This next chart says just 25% of US adults say they expect their finances to look better in 5 years than today. Lord have mercy. Can we all go into like a cryogenic sleep for the next 5 years until we have a Democratic administration? I'm down. I'm down. That's even lower than at the nadir of the Great Recession. Wow. It's even lower than at the lowest of the Great Recession. This one is fun. Remember when Trump won the, quote, inflation election as voters united behind him because they were pissed off with rising prices, along with a bunch of other things, like they didn't want a black female president. But fast forward a few months, and Americans' inflation expectations are now as high as they were at the peak of Biden-era price raises. Wow. Trump inflation expectations are now peaking, which is wild. They're back to where they were during COVID. This one is important. For all of the talk about the powerful pro-Trump media ecosystem, the share of Americans who have heard negative business news coverage of the government has exploded. Even the podcast bros can't distract Americans from the realities of the stock market. On the same dynamic here, Trump's approval is holding up well with MAGA, but he's rapidly losing support among the rest of the coalition who voted for him in November. Or, to put it another way, the view from inside the MAGA echo chamber remains rosy. Outside, not so much. And we'll see how these charts update over the next few weeks after Liberation Day and everything. But this says, in leading into MAGA, Trump is losing the rest of his 2024 coalition. Overall approval rating, and they had the people self-identify as MAGA. So when they were polling them, they said, are you MAGA? And among MAGA, he's got a nearly 100% approval rating. It's basically all the way as high as it can be. Not surprising. But among other Trump in 2024 voters, it's slipping pretty rapidly. How about here? On jobs and the economy, we see an even steeper decline, massive decline. On inflation/prices, we see an even steeper decline, under 50%. This goes under 50. And then on immigration, people are largely happy because Trump has branded himself as this mass deportation president when all he's actually done is remove due process. But I found these numbers incredibly interesting. If you guys do as well, make sure you drop a like. Please subscribe. I keep showing this chart, but the Adam Mockler channel, my channel, was in the top 10 fastest growing political channels in Q1 of 2025. We beat Megyn Kelly. We beat Charlie Kirk. We even beat Tucker Carlson. Now we're right behind Joe Rogan. I see Candace Owens and Fox News. And then, of course, MeidasTouch is there at number 1. But the point is, if you guys appreciate my content, make sure you're subscribed below. It's completely free, and it helps us grow this digital ecosystem to push back against MAGA. I'll leave it at that. See you all in the next video, and peace out.